So it's just I kind of give you a brief overview of what they do. Now, Your Health Torbay is part of a company which is a national company called Your Health, wherever. So, and they've got 23 different depots. They employ 400 people. They only started going in 2009, so they've grown massively, and they just seem to be taking on more and more and more and more as the years go by. So they started off as a stop smoking practice because the two ladies that started it were getting fed up with their friends dropping down dead. And they said, what can we do? We've got to do something here, because there's all these smokers were getting very ill, and they felt like they needed to do something. And so they started this company up. And so that's where it comes from. There's two sides to the organisation. One is the quit smoking side, and the other one is healthy living. I will talk about them both, although personally I do the stop smoking, so that's my expertise. I'm not an expert on the other bit, but I can tell you about it. So with the actual health side of it, you mentioned diets. They're not into diets. No. I've got a little program here which I'll give out for people to have a look at. It's a 12-week. Yeah, it's a 12-week program, and it's about educating about food, nutrition, why you crave, why you overeat, how you can eat more healthily and lose weight naturally without going on diets. And what they do is they do 12 weeks. So it's about healthy living, weight management thrown in, if you like, but as a sort of byproduct of the healthy living. And they do a 12-week program. So each week it's a different subject that they look at. And as I say, I'll give you a program in just a moment. You can have a look through that for yourself, see what the subjects are. And they also do a little bit of exercise. Now, it's not about getting people to go down the gym and learn how to exercise and get really, like, a lot of people can't be arsed with all that, fair enough. But what they do want to teach people to do is to go away with simple ideas about simple exercises. It might be sitting on a chair doing this for 5 minutes, whatever. But the thing is, once you've been to the course and you do all the little exercises, the idea is that you can then take that away and use it at home. The only thing they actually use is one of those bands. So they'll show you different things with the band to do your arms, your legs, whatever. And so it makes it very easy to do a bit of exercise, because obviously they want people to do more than they're doing, because most people are fairly sedentary and they don't do nearly enough exercise, but they're not going to try to go the whole hog and say, right, join a gym, come on, move 100 kilograms or whatever. It's about gentle, easy progress, okay? And then once you've done the 12-week course, you've got all these ideas about how to just keep up a few simple exercises. They also do, if you want, another 6 months, and they do that once a month for 6 months. So for those who just want to keep it topped up, they can carry on going for another 6 months on a once a month basis. So it's quite a comprehensive thing, okay? And having said that, I will now hand out I've only got a couple of these, but have a little browse through. It gives you an idea of what the program is. So maintaining a healthy weight, eating a heart-healthy diet, limiting alcohol and exercise. So basically, those are the ways that they help people to achieve better health. I'll read out a few statistics, actually, which I find is interesting. Deaths from smoking in the UK is 74,000 a year. One in eight smokers die from lung cancer. And then, of course, there are heart attacks and there's strokes, etc., etc., etc. So we all know the bad side of smoking, right? Now, if you're quitting on your own, you've got a certain amount of chances to succeed, which are low. If you come on one of our programs and we're giving you nicotine replacement therapy, then you've got twice the chance of giving up. And if you're actually seeing one of us as a counsellor, then you've got 3 times the chance of giving up compared to on your own. Yes, but what I'm saying is, like, if I was doing the counselling for you, and I do this with people, if we find something doesn't work, we try something else, and something will work. They will settle down with something. Okay, and sometimes people don't find that the patches they don't stick, or they give them irritation, blah blah blah. Then we try something else. And ultimately, I might as well mention it now because we've started on that. But there's, have you heard of Champix? So if anybody doesn't want to use the nicotine replacement products, we encourage them to try the Champix, which is a drug that blocks the nicotine receptors in the brain. So you're not gonna kind of react in the same way as you would to a nicotine product, because it's not a nicotine product, it's the opposite. It actually blocks the nicotine in the brain. So what I'm saying is that's another avenue to go down, you see, which you've not explored. And there's now 2 products on the market. One's called Champix, one's called varenicline. As I say, they block the brain receptors so that if you are smoking, it won't have any effect on you. And it's a bit like, well, what's the point? Well, it doesn't taste nice anymore. And also it does help a little bit because nicotine releases dopamine in the brain, which is what people are addicted to. It's the dopamine. And the varenicline does actually give off, or does enable the brain to give off a little bit of dopamine at the same time. So you are getting a little bit of a, not I wouldn't say a kick, but you're getting a little bit out of it, but it's mainly the blocker effect. So there are other ways to deal with it, because we always find some things don't always work for everybody, obviously. Okay? So
does the GP have to prescribe those?
Well, yes, we recommend, we do a little assessment on people, and then we send that off to the GP. If everything on the assessment is okay, we know what won't work for them, and if that's all okay, we send off the request to the GP, and then they prescribe it for us. But we only ever do anything. Well, you would have found this. We do it on a weekly basis because we do need people coming back to us, make sure everything's okay. If they're going on holiday, yeah, it might give them an extra week or so. But it is about making sure that everything's going okay. And so likewise with the prescriptions, they only ever get 2 weeks worth of medication in one go. Let's put it this way. Most of my clients, if we can call them clients, come to me, they're in their 60s, and sadly they've got lung cancer, or they've got COPD, or they've got something wrong, emphysema, whatever it might be, or they've had heart attacks. And they come to me and they say, do you know what, Paul, I've really got to stop now because I'm really suffering, right? So they're very determined. Most of them are very determined. And even the younger people who come, there's a reason why they really want to push through. And generally speaking, we're successful. But it's the motivation comes from them. What I always say to them in terms of what we do, it's a 50-50. Our 50% input is the products, the encouragement, the education around the products or whatever. But the other 50% is your decision to do it. So we got so our Stop Smoking, according to there, you can see it's a 12-week program. We see people once a week, and we do face-to-face on one-on-one. So we're a little bit different to the health groups because they work in groups. So you'll have one or two presenters working with anything up to 20 people. So it's much more of a group activity, and then the people in the group can encourage each other and can learn from each other. Whereas we're on a one-to-one basis because each person, the requirement is an individual. So we need to deal with that one individual. So that's quite different in terms of how I work and how my colleagues work in the health. So on the weight management side, it says 12 weekly sessions, 6 months follow-up, one blah, 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 blah. Right, we've done that bit. And the health coaching, but that's thrown in because the people that are employed on the health side are usually sort of pretty much into fitness and can help with coaching on fitness and stuff and health stuff as well. Okay, so it's not just about the food side of things. Anyone who lives or works in the area, registered with the GP in Torbay, they can apply to this service. Like I say, there's 23 services around the country, but we're kind of tied into a locality because of funding. So the funding will come from the local council with government grants or whatever. So it's all a bit, they're quite strict as to who we deal with. But as long as you live or work in Torbay, that's fine. And everything we do is for free. The government sponsor it, because obviously they want to stop people getting ill and ending up in hospital. The other thing with vapes is that a lot of them are not regulated. So if you go into a vape shop, there's some real junk in there that's cheap, it's from abroad, it's not regulated, and then people are using that. They're more likely to give you problems than the ones that are carefully regulated. We've got a vape, and that's this thing here. It's carefully regulated, it's only nicotine, and we have various strengths. So with this, you plug it in like you would do a phone, and you can see the lights come on, right? So it has a charge, and then in there is nicotine, and we do 3 flavors. So if people want to go onto a vape, we give them our own vape because we know it's as safe as possible. But the advice is that they only use them for up to 2 years. Obviously, we'll try and get them off within 12 weeks. If they want to carry on vaping, the current government advice is don't vape for more than 2 years because they don't know what the long-term effects are. But you're quite right. With a lot of vapes, you're taking in oil, which is not good for your lungs. Yeah. So you've still got a problem with vaping. However, vaping is it's about 10%, if that, of the issues with smoking. So it's a lot safer than smoking. So that's why we use this, because it's to get somebody off a far worse product. Yeah. So according to this slide, you can see what we do is the nicotine replacement products, which we've talked about. There's the vapes, the patches, lozenges, gum, and a mouth spray. Okay, and then come back. Swap to Stop. That's just a name given to a program the government pay for people to have the vapes instead of smoking. So that's just the name for that particular one part of it. And then the medication I briefly mentioned was the varenicline or the Champix, which is the same product, and it blocks the nicotine receptors in the brain. Evidence-based support tailored to the individual needs, 12 weeks, and then we follow up at 26 weeks and 52 weeks purely for statistical purposes, so our organisation knows how successful we're being in the long term, because obviously we monitor very carefully in the first 12 weeks. And I've got here a carbon monoxide measurement thing. You've used that? I'm going to get you to do this in a minute, all right, and yourself, okay? Now what this does is it measures carbon monoxide, which is something you get, one of the many chemicals you get from your cigarettes. And the reason carbon monoxide is not good for you is that it attaches to the hemoglobin in the blood more readily than does oxygen. Now the hemoglobin is meant to be picking up all the oxygen that you need for your system. And if you smoke, it's unable to pick it all up because a lot of that hemoglobin has been hijacked by the cigarette. So this measures the carbon monoxide in your blood, basically. So it depends on when you last smoked, because the carbon monoxide will clear within 24 hours. So even if it's 8 hours, it will still be a lot lower than. Okay, should we do that now while we're talking about it? Come on, let's get it over and done with. All right. So what I'm going to ask you to do is. Well, we'll do one non-smoker. So in a minute, I'm going to ask you to breathe in and hold it for 15 seconds. Okay. And then I want you to just blow out slowly. Right. So I want you to breathe in now. And then I want you to breathe in now and hold it. And then when the numbers are gone, that's your time to blow. Right. Yeah. So in a minute, I want you to breathe in and hold it. You're going to then see the numbers and then you blow out. Please sit down. Okay, so you breathe in now, hold it, and when the numbers are gone, you blow out slowly down the tube. So this is a device we use because when we first get people in, it gives us an idea of how much they're smoking. Generally speaking, people are honest with us. So if they say, "Oh, I'm smoking 20 a day," they probably are. But if for some reason they're not quite honest, we can say, well, actually, that reading indicates much more than what you're saying. You know what I mean? Or you maybe aren't counting exactly right as to what you're doing. So.
Not being honest about it. It's like me going and saying to a dietitian, "Oh, I don't eat much."
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Okay, that's fine.
We all do it.
Good. You see, now that, like yourself, a 2 would be a non-smoker because we all have a little bit of carbon monoxide in our blood from the atmosphere. So it'd be 2 or 3 would be general. All right, so that's what we use that for. It's a very good indicator. And it gives, in terms of encouragement, you know, I get some people say, "Oh, come on, quick, let me have the monitor. I didn't smoke for the last few days," and they want to come up too, and they're all excited, you know, because last week they were 30. 22 is about average, middle of the road. Yeah. 22.
So would you say that was heavy?
I'd say that's moderate. You've got a moderate intake. You know, a high intake would be 35 plus, and you're sort of in between that and 2. Yeah, you're a moderate smoker. So straight away I've got an idea, but we can then, so if you make a little bit of progress in the week, you may feel like, "Oh, I haven't really made any progress." We do that and just, "Oh, it's only 18 today." So you have made progress. So it's a handy tool. I was surprised when I was in a chemist recently, what do we call them, pharmacists now, whatever. I noticed a shelf with all the nicotine replacement products on. Man, they're expensive. They are expensive, you know, 40 quid for a packet of patches or whatever. Seriously, mental. We do this all for free. So people are getting a lot of value out of it. So this is the benefit of once you've started to give up. So obviously we have to talk about the benefits, not only the bad side of smoking, but the benefits. And we get people to focus on what they're achieving. And if people come to us and they've stopped smoking for a period of time, so how do you feel? "Oh, I can walk better. I can be more active, or I can taste my food, or I can smell more." You know what I mean? It varies from person to person, but there's a real positive benefit, and you remind them of that. Say, well, you know, because it's an achievement. After 20 minutes, your pulse starts to go back down to normal because your nicotine, it actually kind of accelerates things. It's a bit of a stimulant, so your pulse would go up. So it goes back down after just 20 minutes. After 48 hours, That's when the carbon monoxide has gone out of your system. 2 to 12 weeks, your blood starts to pump better through your system. After a year, your risk of a heart attack is halved. After 8 hours, oxygen levels start to recover. 72 hours, you're breathing better, blah, 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 blah. And I'll just say a little statistic here. Once you've quit, if you quit at the age of 35, the assessment is that it adds 10 years to your life if you stop at 35, as opposed to carrying on, obviously. And if you stop at 65, the benefit is obviously a lot less because you've been smoking for a long, long time, but you still gain 3 years, even if you stop at that late stage. So there's always a benefit, even, you know, and I get some people coming to me in their late 70s. It's incredible. I tend to think, left it a bit late, mate. But, you know, there's always a bit of a benefit.
Tell them that, though.
Well, I try not to. Okay. And then one of the things we do as well is we look at reasons why people smoke, what the blocks are in stopping smoking, what the challenges are for them. Because a lot of it is, did you mention about it being habitual? Yeah, it isn't habitual. It's linked to certain things, especially with drinking. A lot of people, if they're going to go down the pub, have a pint, definitely have a fag straight after. Or if they're having a meal, they want a fag after, and so on and so forth. So we help them to identify those things and do different things. So in terms of, a lot of people have the excuse of, oh, I felt stressful. And we said, well, actually, smoking doesn't help with stress. What might help is phoning up a friend, going for a walk, listening to music. And it's like, no, you've got to think about different things to do. And we go through various ideas that might work. And generally speaking, they're good. I always find that people, well, they do get there, because also they feel very disappointed if they genuinely want to stop smoking. And then they come back to me a week later and say, oh, I'm still on 4 a day. I mean, they might have got it down from 8 a day or 12 a day, but we go for quitting, not reduction, because reduction just goes back up again. So we look at, with the products we give people, we actually expect them to stop smoking within 2 weeks, which is pretty quick, isn't it? And then the rest of that 12-week period is consolidation, so that they get over that thing about linking it to stress. They get over that thing about linking it to drink. And then by the time we get to the 12-week period, if they've given up at 2 weeks, you get to 12 weeks, it's like, man, they're home and dry. I often release people way before 12 weeks, because I'll say, do you know what? You're doing so well. How do you feel about just leaving it alone now? You know, you haven't got to come and see me. You're not using any product, or you're hardly using any product. And if they're ready, we just quit, because they've done it. But if we need the whole 12 weeks, that's what we are financed for. We can go the whole 12 weeks. But like I say, I don't always go to 12 weeks, because if they're bored and I'm bored, it's like, man, we've done it. Let's not kind of beat ourselves up here. Anybody can refer them into our organisation. There's a phone number there, it goes through to our admin office. They've got the little computers where they'll take details, book them into a session with somebody. And if it's the health thing, they'll be booked into one of the health classes. If it's a smoking thing, they'll be booked in to see somebody like me. And then we do our initial assessment. So it's nice and easy. We also get referrals from doctors, and we also get referrals from hospitals. The hospitals, we treat them as priorities, because those people are, you know, they've got lung cancer or they've had heart attacks or whatever. So, you know, we try and get involved with them straight away. Right, so what this slide is just a testimonial from people that have smoked. It's pretty obvious stuff. You know, they save money, they eat better, blah, blah, blah. Don't smell of smoke. Very briefly, I'm just going to whiz through. Now, you can see this thing is written in a very kind of user-friendly way. It's not just writing, it's all pictures and colours, so that it's, you know, very easy to read. Okay. And like I say, the contents in here, they cover in 12 weeks. So what they do is initially they'll take people's measurements, they'll talk about what these people would like to achieve. And then throughout the course, people will monitor what they're trying to achieve, how they're achieving it. They look at the reason for weight gain in the first place. Don't forget I said to you that they don't do dieting, okay? But they do look at why are you gaining weight, and they'll look at the causes. And there's quite a lot there. Your body, your personal body image. Moving more, obviously that's a big part of it, because at the end of each of the sessions on the 12-week program, as I say, they do these little exercises to help people just go away and be able to do things. So that moving more is a part of it that they try and get instilled in people. Then they look at the health benefits, because obviously there's got to be the old carrot. you know, at the end of the stick light, why you're doing it, what you're going to benefit, and it goes through all the various things there. Brain health, heart health, cancer prevention, healthy weight, bone strength, balance, coordination, less anxiety, blood pressure, sleep, blah, 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 blah. And you can imagine that in a course, you'd be talking about these things in some depth, and you'd be drawing on people's experience because everyone will have different things to share about that. But ultimately, you know, the counsellor will be the person to push home the best ideas. That's about physical activity for disabled people, setting smart goals, and all about snacking. So there's a lot in here about calories, about fast food, what's good, what's bad about fast food. And then you've got lots of room in the back to keep a record of what's going, how it's going. What I'd like to finish off with is that if anybody here does want to try the course, it doesn't hurt. You just sign up for 1 week at a time. It doesn't cost you anything, so why not give it a go? If it's for health, weight management, or stop smoking, give it a go.